Welcome to Indy Unplugged, the podcast that's your front row seat to the real talk of Indianola. I'm Aaron Young, your friendly neighborhood host, and we're diving deep into unfiltered stories, candid chats, and the nitty-gritty of our vibrant city. Think of this as a crash course in all things Indianola. No fancy jargon, just real conversations. So, get comfy, hit that play button, and let's explore the heart and soul of our community together on Indy Unplugged. All right, welcome back to another episode of Indy Unplugged, a City of Indianola podcast, and we've got two great guests joining us on today's episode. If you've been staying tuned in your community news and upcoming events, you know for sure that here from June 27th to the 29th, it's the Discmania Challenge over at Pickard Park Disc Golf Course. And joining me today is Tannatt with the Disc Golf Pro Tour, as well as Doug Bylund, our very own Chief of Culture and Recreation. Ty and Doug, how are you guys both doing today?
Oh, I'm great.
Yeah, doing great. I didn't know that was your title, Doug. You got quite the title there. I love it. Chief.
He's gone through just different variations of his title, from Parks and Rec Director to Interim City Manager to now being back to just solely Chief of Culture and Recreation.
Oh, it's
awesome. Yeah.
Just call me the Park and Rec guy.
Yeah, no, it makes sense though. I think it fits well for you.
Well, Ty, just to kind of get things rolling, why don't you just introduce yourself to our listeners and what your role is over there with the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the Discmania Challenge?
Yeah, I am the tournament director for the event. I think of it more of like the event director. I basically help on behalf of the Des Moines Metro Disc Golf Club run and organize the Discmania Challenge, which is presented by Trubank this year, which is it's actually an event that spans 2 weekends. So we just had the amateurs and professional masters play this past weekend. And then the men's and women's professional fields will play June 27th through 29th, like you said, at Pickard Park. And basically we just try to create an event that features disc golf foremost, but then is also a community event where, anybody can come out and enjoy some of the landscape of Pickard Park, enjoy the outdoors, see some Frisbees fly, and hang out with their friends and family. So that's kind of my role with everything for the event.
That's awesome. And we'll dig further into the story of the partnership and the Discmania Challenge itself here in a little bit on this episode. But between both you, Ty, and Doug, how did this connection, this collaboration in our community first begin?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of a funny story. I've been playing disc golf for a long time and just was kind of in and out of the sport. And I really started playing a lot more just due to some mental health issues that I was going through, and just being outdoors and doing some exercise and hanging out with friends has always really helped me through those times of anxiety and depression. So at that time, I was really looking to get a little bit more involved in the sport. So I was interested in the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and I thought that the Des Moines area could be a good fit for the tour. We have a very good, very strong disc golf community, a strong history. We hosted 2004 Worlds, which is the biggest event in disc golf. And I actually found out yesterday that spanned over 11 courses over 9 days, which is crazy to think about. But at the time, it was also during 2020 when COVID had hit and everything was basically shut down. What had happened for us to meet is I started talking with the Des Moines Metro Disc Golf Club. I started thinking that Pickard Park would be a good host for one of these strong disc golf events. And what we did is we organized kind of a temporary tournament where we switched a couple things out and we changed a couple things to try to get a feel for it. And actually, the only reason that what led to that was that during COVID, I put on a little impromptu tournament at Ewing Park in Des Moines and Pickard Park. And what we did for that is we put out some advertising signs on hole 2 at Pickard. And the event was probably on like a Wednesday or Thursday, and it only featured 4 players. And it was mainly for post-production, like we filmed it and we posted on YouTube after the fact. But what happened was I got a sternly worded email I'm just taking that back. It wasn't stern. It was just, it was an email from Doug, saying, hey, we saw that you had some advertising assets up on the course, and, we're just wondering what's going on there. And if you want to, advertise on the course, just, please kindly ask the Parks Department. And, I think I replied back to that and said, yeah, no problem. Sorry about that. And that we were just trying to, do something quick and easy there. And I didn't even think about that, honestly. But what that gave me Doug's contact information. All right. So we took that piece and we applied it to this temporary tournament that I started. And then that just kind of started the conversation of, hey, Doug, we think we can do this out here. This is our pitch. We put together a pitch. We talked to Doug a couple times, and I'm sure Doug can share his side of the story. But obviously, when you pitch something to somebody and they're not super familiar with it, I'm sure Doug was probably like, a little hesitant of what it was that we were saying. But it was really cool. Doug's been a very easy person to work with. And he's a straight shooter, which I like. That was basically just kind of how it started. And, it just continued to blossom from there on out. But I'll let Doug chime in because I don't know if we've ever talked about your side of the story when you saw our signs up there.
No, yeah, I think that's pretty much accurate. I remember seeing the sign going, oh no, we're having this tournament. What if we have a softball tournament on the same day? And oh my gosh, we're not going to have enough parking. That was really kind of how it went. And okay, who's this organization? Just call them. Hey, it's okay. You reserve the course. Just let us know so we can plan, so we don't have 2 or 3 big events at the same time, and not necessarily disc golf related, but softball with the park being the way it is, or cross country meets or other things that we have throughout the fall too. So we obviously work together. You come to me and say, hey, we want to have an event at one of our parks. And I'm like, yes, sign us up. We'll do whatever we can. And we can fast forward to probably April the next year. And I remember getting a call. I'm eating lunch at home, and he goes, Doug, we were going to do the silver thing, but now the Norway tournament's been canceled. So they want to do this Elite Series event in Pickard in July, right? Was it August or July?
It was July, yeah.
We had 2 months to get this thing going. To go from, it's going to be a serious, big professional disc golf tournament, but now it's going to be really serious.
Yeah, top of the top,
tournament. So
to provide a little more context there too. So after doing the temporary tournament and talking with Doug and giving them this idea, we had to plan our dates for the next year. So this would be 2021, and we have to do that in December of the year before. So we looked at the date that the Disc Golf Pro Tour was supposed to be in Norway. And I'm like, that's our date, because there's no way Europe is going to allow, mass gatherings with COVID still going on in July.
Right. Yep.
And so we requested that date. We got that date. Here's another backstory that's a little funny. Is I was a few times I was emailing the Disc Golf Pro Tour, hey, we got this course, we got this, city, it's got all these amenities, because what a lot of people don't think about for these big events are all the additional amenities that you need, bathrooms, power, parking, just flow of the course and openness of the course so that people can come out here and watch. And I just feel like Pickard is a really good example of what a public park can be for a professional disc golf event. And so I tried to explain that to the guys at the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and they just kind of laughed me off. They're like, yeah, whatever. I remember my current boss, Sean, I emailed him and he said, well, you need to start as a C tier and then work your way up to a B tier in a couple of years. And then, maybe in 5 or 7 years, you can become an A tier. And I was like, no, I need to do this next year. I need to do it next year. And so we started talking with Sean and Seth Fenley and a couple other guys. And I just kept, texting them every other week or so, hey, I see, COVID's still, making its rounds in Europe. What do you guys think? We're here as a backup. And that call that Doug is referring to is really funny. I obviously got a call from the Disc Golf Pro Tour from Seth Fenley, and I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, we're going to do a silver event, which a silver event at the time just meant it wasn't quite as prestigious. It didn't have quite all the big players that were going to come out. but still a big event and a big undertaking. And Seth had just been like, no, we're going to do the full Elite Series event. And it was like the week after 4th of July, too. I think it was on July 9th. And we got an incredible amount of effort from the community, both locally in Indianola and Des Moines. And then obviously the buy-in from Doug and the Parks Department to help us out and to figure out, what it is we could do. And it's just grown like immensely ever since then. It's just really been very fruitful, and it's just a lot of fun, honestly, to be a part of.
And I think that's what's a really cool part of this story is that community spirit, or that volunteerism that's coming locally and then from Des Moines and other areas across central Iowa, the region, the world, as Doug shared earlier. I mean, that's kind of really, I feel, a missing ingredient into this entire piece of the pie that you two have helped build. So like Doug, for you, from hearing from Ty and from others about, just how remarkable Pickard Park, the disc golf course, was even back then 4 or 5 years ago to what it is today. When you think about that evolution, the journey that you two and everyone have gone through, what does that mean to you just on a deeper level? Being a Parks and Rec guy, yes, but also just understanding and realizing the impact that this event, this experience, this sport has on both from an event standpoint, but also just an overall daily life and the quality of life initiatives that we have as a city.
Oh boy, that's a big, deep question.
And we're only 11 minutes in, sir.
The first thing that I keep thinking about is all the hard work and all the commitment that so many people have gone through. And I don't want to name every name, but Earl and Jamie and Chad, and there's so many people that are all out there, Ty, and you name it. There's hundreds of them. And this would not happen without them. But then I get to, maybe it was the second event that we had, and there was a little boy that came, and I was by the check-in gate, and he was excited. He's going to see Paige Pierce play disc golf. I'm guessing he was about 9. He's jumping up and down. I'm going to see Paige Pierce. I'm like, well, she's teeing off in 15 minutes, right? He did not know this. And we had somehow Ty had arranged to get some extra VIP passes that day, and Dad's like, yeah, I'll do that. We'll do that. So he got to go walk the course with Paige Pierce the entire day. And somehow, and maybe 15 minutes later, somebody said, oh, we got these VIP badge lanyards things. And I'm like, oh, there's one left. And I knew that little guy was coming around the corner, and I went down there and I gave him that pass, and his eyes lit up. So you don't know the impact that we're having on every single person. And this is like Tiger Woods. This is like Mike Trout. These are the biggest names in the world of disc golf. And, there's almost, maybe not a world record, but one of the best tournaments that Gannon had last weekend, right? So these things are happening, and everybody knows a lot of these people. There's a lot of people from Iowa that are going to be playing, and they're very good at it. So I see the spectators, but I also see the impact that it has on the volunteers and how proud they are of all the work that they're doing and the things that are happening. And this is going to be podcast around the world for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they have their press conferences before. And it's good. And this is a professionally done organization, just like the PGA Tour.
Did you ever think that, Pickard Park here in Indianola, Iowa, would, in multiple uses that it has between softball and, just even last Friday, we had a drive-in movie, the evolution of the course. In your wildest dreams, did you ever imagine that you'd be hosting regularly a globally renowned tournament with the Discmania Challenge?
I would never say never to anything. I wouldn't, I've seen teams from Canada, from California, from all over North America come play softball and baseball. Why can't we do the same thing for disc golf? And this is world. So there literally will be 15 or 18 countries represented next weekend. Last year, little junior amateur, she's junior world champion. I think she was 9 from New Zealand that I met in the parking lot. I was like, oh my gosh, right? So they're coming from everywhere. I would never say never about anything anybody has an idea about. And Ty is a perfect example. He wasn't going to give up. He knew the vision. He knew this was going to happen. It's been one of the best courses. The metro area is one of the best areas for disc golf in the country. And we could probably say world. Obviously, we don't have mountains or all those other things, but we have other things. This is everything Iowa has. It has rolling hills. It has long, big shots. It has really tight shots with timber, little creek that runs through it. You might see a fish swimming by as you're picking up your disc, right? This is what Iowa's all about. And I think people 25 years ago when they built this course, they probably would have loved knowing that this is happening. And Juliana, like we talked about earlier, and the people that designed it, this is why you do what you do. And you don't know. Why would you limit yourself on what it becomes?
And it's been fun for me, and I encourage others, listeners of this podcast, to make sure you go and follow Discmania Challenge on Facebook, and I believe you're also on Instagram. So follow them on those socials, because that's how at least I've been able to follow along on the journey, especially as of late, from those volunteers and clearing up the wooded areas for I don't know the course all that well as the both of you, but there's a lot of work and yard work. We'll put it in layman's terms for.
It's way bigger than yard work.
Yeah.
This is like logging, right? This is a big deal. This is easily thousands and thousands of hours every year.
Yeah.
And it's been since 2000, so we're going 6 years now.
Yeah, and it's all volunteer driven. I mean, being able to, and where I'm going at is being able to see those photos and the evolution of these volunteers, and Ty yourself being able to, dedicate yourselves to the sport and to the spectacle of this event. Just kind of, Ty, for you, take listeners through all the work that you and the group have done as of late to prepare for this year's tournament.
Yeah, just thank you, Doug, for everything you just said. That was great. But yeah, every year, we come out here and after every event, we're like, what do we need to change? What do we need to work on? What can we shore up? And, every year, basically from March until June or July or August, whenever the event ends up being, we're out here every weekend. Those other guys, Earl, Chad, Jamie, the locals, specifically to Indianola, are out here pretty much every day, if not every other day, helping do stuff on the course. And then it just varies, right? There's a lot of upkeep out here, like weed whacking, and just like overall beautification and course maintenance. But then we also try to implement changes every year. So every single year we've done this, we've put in new tee pads, or we've replaced old tee pads. We've built bridges pretty much every year. We've widened them. And we've just tried to make it this overall easier, for both the players and the spectators, but then also the community. Doug might know that gal's name, but there's a gal that walks up and down hole 11 like every day, and she has her own little trail. And I can't think of what her name is, but
it's Lisa. It's Lisa. If you go on GIS, you will see her trail. It's there. And she made it herself over years and years and years of walking through the park.
That's funny.
So there's always an impact every day. 365 days a year out there.
Yeah. And, it's just great to see, like I said, the movies in the park. And then obviously we have the balloons. We're really trying to work with the National Balloon Classic this year and offer a tethered hot air balloon ride during one of the evenings for people to go up and spectate in. So, overall, everything we do out here, it's very rewarding and fulfilling, obviously, for that week or those 3 to 5 days of the event. Just thinking back to that first year when we did this, just like as soon as the last putt dropped, just looking at some of those people that spent hundreds and hundreds of hours and, like I said, thousands of hours out here, just giving them a hug and like having such joy for what we did was incredible. And, just being able to think back to that every year and like think back to that feeling and to get to that feeling every year. Cause, at the end of the day, we're doing this for everybody else because I love disc golf. And the reason that, I specifically wanted to run our own event here is because one of my favorite things in life is just enjoying shared experiences with like-minded people. So whether you like sporting events, and like I'm an Iowa Hawkeye fan. When I go to Kinnick Stadium, I'm around 70,000 people who like the same thing that I do. And that's really fun. When I go to a concert, I'm around a couple thousand people that are enjoying the same thing I am. And I want to bring that to the sport of disc golf, and I want to share that with more people. You can come out here, you can watch little disc golf, you can have some food and drinks from Hy-Vee and Big Grove Brewery, and you can meander through the woods and enjoy the beauty out here. I think Doug just said you might see some fish. I think last year we had a raccoon, we had snakes, we had cows, we had obviously squirrels, blue jays, tons of beautiful wildlife out here at Pickard Park. And I think it's just really our total goal is to get the local Indianola community with their families to come out and experience it. And, at the end of the day, it's not about them like wanting to pick up disc golf or enjoying disc golf. It's just having them come out and share an experience with a lot of people and have a good time. If they end up picking up a disc or, playing Pickard Park later, that's obviously great. But I just want them to come out and enjoy a nice summer day in a beautiful park.
And I love the fact too about, teaming up with other community partners. I know, I believe, so I serve on our Indianola Main Street board, and I've heard our executive director, Erica Roberts, I believe you guys have been in contact too to figure out, hey, when the tournament's not going on, and Ty, you addressed earlier, the community has other amenities outside of Pickard Park. So of course, getting them down to our downtown square to, get a bite to eat or go shop and all these other things that are going on in the community. I think it's really cool that, while people are here for the moment, for that tournament, they can still experience Indianola and what the community has to offer.
Yeah, and some of them grown a lot. We've been thankful enough to work with Trubank. Just another funny story about how this has come about is that first event, we had a congressman come out, local congressman come out, and he was blown away by what was happening. And I think either Tuesday or Wednesday of the following week after the event, I was in Keith Welling's office at Trubank, and we were talking about a double-digit sponsorship for next year's event, which at the time in disc golf was pretty much unheard of, especially from a non-endemic and a non-disc golf related brand. And so, Trubank has been a huge partner for us. They're a huge partner, obviously, for the entire community of Indianola. They go above and beyond at all times. And, just trying to continue to work with them, continue to have that trickle down into other businesses and locales. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we want, right? Is we want people to come out here, experience this course, this park, and then everything else that the city of Indianola has to offer. It's kind of like a little give and take, right? Like, hey, you guys promote us, we'll promote you, and all that. And hopefully we can all just like showcase what Indianola has.
Or even what Iowa has. Was it the second year we had August? Is that right?
Yeah.
And we had players from Europe that went to the Iowa State Fair.
Right. Yep.
Just because they came here to play disc golf. So they would never, ever would have seen that without playing disc golf here.
Yeah. That's the other kind of trickle down effect that, I think, like destination marketing organization, like Catch Des Moines understands, and like the Chamber of Commerce here understands, is that this event obviously is going to bring people in during the weekend of the actual event, but it trickles down throughout the year. People are going to come in from all over the country because they're going to want to play this course that they saw on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And Chad has hundreds of stories. Chad loves to just chat up anybody that comes on the course. So he's always asking, where are you from? And I think just like last Tuesday or something, he talked to, I think, 4 different groups, all from different states. And in my opinion, that's directly coming from us having this event here. And not only do those people come out here to Pickard Park, they also trickle down to Ewing Park, Walnut Ridge, Southwoods, courses in Johnston, Des Moines, West Des Moines. So it's well, like what Doug said earlier, Des Moines is kind of a disc golf destination. That's definitely true. And that's why the Des Moines Metro Disc Golf Club puts so much effort into this event. That we take joy in that, right? We take joy in people from outside of Iowa, people from outside the United States, having their eyeballs on what we have to offer. And, we've done such a good job because we have such a good team, and we have such a good parks director and his team that will support us with basically anything we ask of him. Except I think next year we might have Doug skydive, try to land on T1. And I don't know, I haven't asked him that one yet, but
Doug,
No,
remember
but
workers' comp. Workers'
No,
comp.
I'm
yeah,
figuring out how we can. Yeah, maybe I'll zip line
yeah,
in
but
or something instead.
yeah, but like Doug said, Doug has said no to very few things, and the things he said no to, he should have said no to, and he's been very gracious with allowing us to come through and deliver what we say we will do. There's a lot of people in a lot of organizations that will tell you one thing and then they won't put in the work. And we're lucky enough to have a community that will come out here and use their resources and give back for the greater good, and for the people that want to come out here and play disc golf. So just very appreciative of those people, and very appreciative of Doug, Amanda Beery, who is the club president of the Des Moines Metro Disc Golf Club. She puts in, I don't know, 30 or 40 hours like outside of this event, just for the sport of disc golf in our area. And, without, someone like her, and not just the club, like not just the board members of the club, but the club members themselves, like the people that sign up and play league and play the events, like without those people, we wouldn't be anything. We'd be lucky to have the courses that we have. So I just hope people can understand that.
So leading into this year's tournament, which again, Discmania Challenge, folks, is June 27th to the 29th here at the Pickard Park Disc Golf Course. What can spectators expect?
Yeah, so I am super excited. We talked about the course a little bit. There's only a couple changes to the course this year, so we're feeling really good about how the course is looking and playing. But so we took kind of our time that had been spent on doing a lot of those changes and put it more into what can we give back to the spectators? What can we do to make this event stand out? So I'll try to say these as quickly as possible, but I just posted our schedule to our Facebook and Instagram page. But basically Tuesday through Sunday of event week, we have things. So Tuesday, we have the Jomez practice round that starts at 9 a.m. That'll feature Gannon Burr and Gavin Babcock, 2 local Iowans. Wednesday, we have our Gold Pass Pro-Am, which is really fun. If you bought a Gold Pass, you get to get paired up with a bunch of other Gold Pass members and play with some of the top pros, including Gannon and Gavin and Anthony Barella, Matt Oram, Greg Barsby, and some others. And then Thursday, we have the Creators Challenge, which is probably the most unique thing that we've done. But we're bringing in 8 disc golf, YouTube, and social media content creators from around the country, and we're pairing them up with a pro, and we're doing an alternate shot doubles out here on Thursday night at 6 p.m. And those tickets are only $10 a piece. So that should be an absolute blast. And then Friday through Sunday, we obviously have the regular event, which is going to be awesome. But for spectators, we're adding a 9-hole spectator course around the north side of the ball fields over there. And we're also going to be offering tethered hot air balloon rides as long as the wind is down. That is scheduled for Saturday evening from 5 to 7 at this point. But if it's too windy, we'll move it to Sunday. We also have a very unique thing that no other event has really ever attempted. But it's kind of a mixture of an event called Ring of Fire in disc golf, which is basically where a bunch of people putt at a basket at the same time, and then whoever ends up being the last one to make it wins. And we're combining that with Chuck-a-Puck from the sport of hockey. If you've ever been to an Iowa Wild game, they sell rubber pucks that you get to chuck on the ice during one of the intermissions, and if you land in a target, you win a prize. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be offering this to all of the spectators on Saturday. And we've built a floating dock that we're going to put a basket on. We're going to put it in the pond out here at Pickard Park. And after the men's lead card gets done with hole 5, we're going to do what I'm calling the people's shot. And we are going to let everybody, up to 150 people, throw a disc and try to make it in that basket with a cash prize as part of that day. So I think there's lots of unique fun that we'll have out here. We also just had a magician sign up. So we're going to have a magician come out and do card tricks. And then we have all of our normal goodies. We're going to have a really nice vending area. We're going to have Hy-Vee out here, outside Scoop. We have a bunch of shaded areas. We have shaded tents on 5 this year, which is new, and 17. And then the last thing I'll say is Midwest Mattress is bringing out 2 adjustable king size mattresses that if you've again ever been to like an Iowa Wild game or Iowa Wolves game, you know how they upgrade you to seating where you get to sit on like a nice recliner, a nice couch.
Yeah. Well,
we're basically taking that and we're putting it under Hole 17's tent, and we're gonna have these awesome beds that have, you know, massagers, and you can go up and down with them. And Midwest Mattress will be out there providing beverages to fans that want to hang out. And we're calling it the Tempur-Pedic zone. I can't remember the exact word, but the temper timeout is what we're calling it, because it would be 2 Tempur-Pedic mattresses. So we're trying to bring like some of the fun from all of the other sports and incorporate it into our event out here for spectators to have a good time.
You didn't mention about kickball yet, though, Ty.
Oh yeah, and then we have, Doug, I forgot 2 things. So Friday night we also do we call it the throw for dough. So we let anybody, spectators, players, volunteers, staff, media, throw discs from Hole 5 at Hole 5's basket, and we're also going to let them throw at the floating dock at that time for another cash prize. And we're going to have Red Bull out there DJing some music. So that's roughly 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And then Saturday evening, we have our Accretion Kickball event, and it benefits another nonprofit called Educational Disc Golf, which is also an Iowa-based nonprofit organization. And funny story, I guess, the kickball event came about during a lightning delay we had a couple years ago. Some players one of them had a ball in their van, and they started playing kickball, and everybody sat around and watched. And so now we play kickball over at the events, and we have Hy-Vee come over, and we have Red Bull come over, and we have some music, and we just have a nice summer night and have some fun, pretending like we're 12-year-olds playing kickball.
You got something for everything. If you had to pick just one, whether it be kind of a long-standing tradition that you've had for the offerings for, you know, the full course of the event, or if it's one new one that's just implemented, which one, if you had to pick, is one that you're most proud of and just excited to see what the experience will be like for those who get to enjoy it?
Yeah, I do think the People Shot will be extremely unique. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully something that can go a little bit viral, and we can really see how it grows. You know, I said 150 people get to attempt it this year. I don't think that should be a problem to get that many people to do it. But, you know, what if this becomes 300 people, 500 people, 700 people? You know, I kind of look at it too as like a tradition, you know, like the Iowa Wave. I was lucky enough to go to the first ever game when they did the Iowa Wave. And, you know, now looking back on that and just watching that every time, like, you know, you want to be a part of that. It's something special. And I hope that this can grow into a tradition that we do every year and people enjoy.
What about you, Doug, besides kickball? Because that was right on your mind.
Oh, man. I help out with parking. I think it's really fun to see everybody coming in and welcoming them. Last year I took in the beehive stuff, and you'll see me with my bee antlers and my bee glasses that I donned this week at the Mayor's Youth Council Bike Fest.
Which Doug creamed all of us. I don't know if he shared that story with you, Ty, but we did a celebrity community giant trike race over at Bike Fest, which is organized by our Indianola Mayor's Youth Council. And Doug was he's bearing the lead. He was the number 1 in donations for community donations that were directed toward his name. I was number 2, so I'm not salty at all. I'm not salty. But Doug did cream all of us by getting first place. And it was a close. Chief Sheriff, our police chief, says it was tied, but I'm going to give the edge to Doug. But I did have, I was representing the beehive for that. The hive is really fun. The 5th hole, hence the hive, right? Hy-Vee has been a big sponsor there. It works perfectly. It's just a big fun place. It's the first place you come in as your spectator. You get to come see that, and people and the players. It's their maybe not the best chance for an ace, but it's definitely you can see it. It's right over water. You'll know right away. We've probably had 3 or 4 aces there in the past 5 years.
and there's food and there's drinks and everything right there. Ty's even brought in a camera or a television, so it's showing the broadcast live, so everybody can watch what's going around the whole course all at the same time. And it's just fun and games. And even volunteer comes up with his beehive hat, and he's got the smoker. He's got everything out there. I mean, he's living it up and getting everybody all fired up. And the players even come up and talk to the fans right away as they're getting ready to tee off. And they're like, thank you guys for coming out here. This is so awesome. We have so much fun. They're interacting all at the same time. And they don't normally want to do that in the middle of the round. I mean, this is their job, right? This is their profession, but they absolutely love it and they live it up. And so many of them are engaging with the fans right there. So it's not quite like Waste Management Open, but someday it might be that big.
No, that's very cool. Ty, just from your perspective as well, I mean, that's something we haven't touched on really too much is the competition side. Who are the competitors that stand out in this year's field, and kind of what do they have to say about every time they come out to the Pickard Park Disc Golf Course and Discmania Challenge?
Yeah, good question. Well, this course over the past 5 years, like we talked about, has gone through a lot of changes, and Gannon Burr has been implemental in a lot of those changes. We asked him and Gavin for a lot of feedback. So Gannon is obviously going to be one of the favorites out here in a couple weeks. He's the number one player in the world. He did just set the all-time highest event rating. He won by 11 strokes on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, which has never happened before. And I think, all eyeballs will be on him all week. Not only is he from Urbandale, but he's the number one player in the world, and Discmania is his manufacturing sponsor. So he's going to have a lot of obligations, though, that week. And, he's going to be back home. All of his family and friends are going to be out here. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. But, the kid excels under pressure as well as anybody I've seen. And then you gotta talk about Anthony Barella, the kid from Arizona that won last year. He's been playing extremely well. I know his game suited well out here, so we could see a little Barella showdown like we saw a couple weeks ago in Portland. And then we got some of the all-time greats. You got Paul Macbeth and Ricky Wysocki will both be out here. And Paul won out here the first time we had the event in 2021. But he really hasn't come too close to winning since then. And I know he has some family here in the Des Moines area as well. So could be a good week for him. On the women's side, we have some strong competitors, Holland Hanley, Missy Gannon, Ella Hansen. But I also think another young up-and-comer, Cadence Burge, who's also sponsored by Discmania, could do really well out here on this course. She's 18 years old. She just got third place this past weekend in Minnesota at the Preserve. So there's going to be hopefully lots of excitement. That's what this course is built for. It's built, and this is funny too, like Doug and I talked about this. We've been talking about this for 3 or 4 years, but like we want this to be a theater, a stadium, for excitement, both for the players and for the fans. And that's what Doug's talking about on hole 5 over there. Hopefully someday we can get, PGA style grandstands over there and really create a theater for disc golf. That's the goal. And we just love to get some more people to come out and experience it and be part of the hive.
So is that, like you said, that's the goal? Is that like when you think about the future for the Discmania Challenge and the Pickard Park Disc Golf Course, is that kind of what the end all goal, the horizon is for this, for your efforts, the volunteers' efforts to continue to make that impact of shared experiences, not just in this community, but across the state and across the world? Yeah.
So our goal is to hopefully host, the World Championships out here, which is like the equivalent of the Masters or the U.S. Open in golf. It's the biggest tournament. It's the most important tournament. It's, usually a fields of over 300 players. You need 2 courses to manage and operate Worlds currently. And we're in talks with, potentially another site that it wouldn't be in Indianola, but it would be close enough. But, utilizing Pickard Park and this other property to host the World Championships. I mean, ideally, that would be the goal. Ideally, we'd fill up the Bylund field with all the cars, and we'd truly throw an exciting party out here. I think we average roughly 1,000 people to like 1,500 people a day out here, as far as spectators go for this event. You know, when you talk worlds, you're thinking 7,500 to 10,000 people.
Wow.
That's the goal, especially in the time frame we're looking at, which would be about 5 years from now. So, I mean, yeah, I think, you know, when Doug and I talked, I have big dreams, I have big aspirations. But I also understand like that you have to be really patient. Although I wasn't patient in wanting to get the event, I understand like the true build up and sustainability of what we're trying to create here. You know, have to be patient and work towards it. And, you know, we're going to do everything we can to do that. We would love to see, you know, again, just more support from the Indianola community, from the neighboring communities, from Des Moines. Like we want to get more people. We want to get as many people out here as possible, because we definitely do think like once people come out and they experience it, like they're going to come back. And they're going to tell their friends and family. It's a lot of word of mouth, with the event that we're running and organizing here. But yeah, those are the bigger aspirations at the end of the day. Host worlds, and you know, that will truly put, you know, Des Moines disc golf on the map for sure.
That's awesome. What about you, Doug? What would your goal be?
Mine's definitely twofold. Again, thanks to everybody's work out there, our course is available 365 days a year for anybody that wants to use it. And thanks to Ty and all the volunteers and all their work, we've had some of that equipment has been donated. So we're able to keep the gold course open most of the days of the year when there's not a tournament or something else there. But thinking of the fact that you have Augusta, or you have Pebble Beach, or you have St. Andrews, like in our backyard when you're talking about disc golf, and people can play that anytime they want, except for maybe 3 days a year when there's a tournament like this. So it's something that connects generations to generation to generation. As you were talking about Gannon, and I know there's a video of Gannon playing like 9U baseball on field 5 or field 6 at Pickard before he was a professional disc golfer. So, I mean, these are the things that we have that happen. And so anything we can do. Again, I'm making connections to people, grandpas and grandsons, and people walk their dogs all at the same time. And that's exactly what we want when we're talking about a park in general, is just to provide opportunities for people to forget about stress of life, right? For a little bit of time at least. So, and if we can figure out how to get 150,000 people throwing beer bottles at somebody who just throws an ace, just like is it 16th hole or 17th hole at Waste Management Open in Phoenix? That would be absolutely unbelievable, right? You know, and there's no reason to say we couldn't get something like that. Well, I don't know. We only have about 200 feet to work with, right? So I guess maybe 300 feet. So maybe we'll have to build it really, really tall. But no, I think, you know, that pie in the sky stuff, but why would we, you know, we never know.
Yeah, no, anything's possible. So then, Ty, how can someone new get involved, either as a player, volunteer, or a fan, as we lead into the tournament and all the events for this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think if you're new, just the best way to like learn about disc golf would be to come to the event. You know, you could come out. We also have, you know, there's not everybody, but the majority of the people that are there love disc golf, and they love to talk about disc golf. I think that's one thing Doug can probably talk about. But, you know, if you're new to the sport, anybody that's playing, they want to share what disc golf is to them, what it means to them. And so I think coming out to the event, you know, you'll be able to see the pros, you'll be able to play the spectator course. There's going to be endless amounts of discs for sale in the vendor area, and you're going to get to meet. And like the best part about coming out to the event as a fan, in my opinion, is you literally get to meet all of the players. They all stick behind, sign autographs, take pictures, you know, shake hands, hang out, and they're here to enjoy the experience as well. You know, Doug mentioned Tiger Woods. Like, you know, Tiger Woods isn't stopping to sign kids' autographs before or after his round, right? He's, you know, on a mission. You know, this golf is still so niche and so small that that's truly the experience that you get. You get really get to connect with these people and become fans of them, and support them throughout their adventures if you choose to do so. So we sell tickets on our website, discmaniachallenge.com. There's a link. You can also get them through Eventbrite. Just search Discmania Challenge and you'll find them. But then I just think that's the best honest experience of getting into disc golf. Come out here and meet those people. And if you're not, hopefully we're starting to build a foundation. It's slowly but surely within our school districts to introduce the sport of disc golf and get it at the lower levels of youth sports. I do have 2 young kids now. We'll have to see where the next 5 or 10 years go, but I could certainly see myself wanting to support the youth initiatives as much as possible to get disc golf more into the school systems.
That's awesome.
I might add too, this is not officially, we don't have the date yet, but, and I'm not necessarily an Iowa State fan, but Iowa State Disc Golf, Iowa State University, their club is going to host an NCAA tournament or NCAA event at Pickard this fall. So now we're adding another feather to the cap. We've had Worlds, we've had DGPT, we have all the other A's and B's and C's like Ty talked about. Now we're going to have an NCAA event too. So it's good to know. And again, that goes back to all these hundreds of people that have put in the time to have an event or place where the club in Ames wants to come up down here to be able to have their event.
Yeah, it really just started as that kind of pipe dream, if you will, 4 years ago during the brink of COVID, where you wanted to bring people to this course because it had its benefits, and now it's continued to evolve and evolve and evolve into something bigger and better, and still sticking true to that promise, that commitment of those shared experiences, whether you're a senior citizen or you're a youth just getting involved and learning the ropes of disc golf, but you're also interacting with those professionals who were once in your shoes, and you're able to have those real world conversations where you're able to get, Doug, using your words, getting away from the stressors of life. That's remarkable. That's really cool.
Yeah. I'll just add to Gannon Burr has been a massive influence. I met him when he was 11 years old, and just seeing how much passion he had for the sport of disc golf and how knowledgeable he was. And I hope we as a disc golf community can continue to work with Gannon to grow the sport in the state of Iowa. He's 20 years old. He's already been he's been the best player in the world for over a year now. And he just turned 20 in May. We have the next 15 years of saying the best player in the world is from Iowa. There's so much potential that we can do with that. And I know Gannon and his mom and his family are really into giving back, to Des Moines and what Des Moines Disc Golf has done, because he worked his way up from every division. He worked his way up from the youth ranks, which is called MJ. He played MJ 10, then he played rec, intermediate, advanced, professional, and he won all of those events here in Iowa. And then he decided to go on tour and give it a shot. And he just has a relentless desire to be the best. And I think that's what, myself and what I want my team to feel as well. I want us to feel the relentless desire to be the best event. And that doesn't mean the hardest course or the best looking course. It just means that we want to create the best atmosphere and the best experience for everybody, the players, the spectators, our staff, the volunteers, media, all of our partners and sponsors. We just want to create that fun and engagement and excitement for them.
That's transformational right there, brother.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and just plug in those socials and the website URL for spectators and those to learn more information, get tickets, be part of the Discmania Challenge and all the festivities as we get closer to everything that's in store for next week.
Yeah. So on Instagram, it's just Discmania_challenge. And on Facebook, it's the DGBT Discmania Challenge presented by Trubank. And you can check us out. We have discmaniachallenge.com, but also I would use the Disc Golf Pro Tours resource. So if you type in DGPT Discmania Challenge, one of the first hits should be the event website on the Disc Golf Pro Tours homepage, and it's got tons of information from all of the spectator stuff we talked about to the caddy book to tickets and more.
Awesome. Well, lastly, it's going to open up the floor for both of you to maybe share any final closing thoughts, just as we get one day closer each day to the event.
I could start. If anybody has connections on making it not rain, we would really appreciate that. I think we had 12 inches of rain last year, the week of the tournament. But actually somehow it was the first one that ever got all 3 days in, right, Ty? So without any delays. So we really, 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 really want like 78 and sunny every day.
You got to do the rain turtle. So being a baseball guy myself, you got to do the rain turtle, turtle in the dirt. You spit on its shell, and the rain gods will hopefully.
Let's try it.
Yeah, try it out.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like, thank you to everybody that's been a part of this. I mean, it wouldn't be worth it without the connections that I've made to all these people, Doug included. We've built a lot of friendships together and separately, outside of me with, other people. Like this event also it's just a way to connect with people and, create friendships. And it's just been super fulfilling. And, this is our 5th year on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We want to make it the best yet. And, I don't look for us stopping anytime soon is all I'll say. We want to make this bigger and better every year.
That's amazing. Awesome stuff, you guys. I appreciate both of your time today to join us on this episode of Indy Unplugged. Listeners, we're going to plug in all those links that Ty and Doug had mentioned on this episode. So just go to that podcast description of this episode. You'll find those links to the website, to the socials, you name it, we'll have it. And make sure you leave us a review, leave us a comment for Indy Unplugged. This helps us make sure that we're hitting the mark on every single episode that we push out. We're getting close to the end of season 1. We've only got a couple more episodes before we wrap things up for season 1 and launch season 2 at the start of next year in 2026. So we got some exciting things planned up for the future of Indy Unplugged. So again, make sure you leave those comments, leave those reviews, and who knows, maybe next time you'll be a future guest of Indy Unplugged.